The terrifying impact of Hurricane Milton. Bringing winds of more than 200 kilometres an hour to Florida's west coast.
And left behind the sheer devastation of how powerful this hurricane was. You know what? Let's jet into this story. Welcome to Jet. So first and foremost, before we get into how devastating this hurricane was and the damage and carnage it caused after its aftermath, give thanks to Yahweh and Yahushua. Yes, man. Hurricane Milton made its landfall in Florida and the Tampa, Florida area and left behind a devastating destruction to a scale unimaginable. It is no wonder why President Biden gave this stark warning, telling people that they need to evacuate, and they needed to evacuate now.
Evacuate now. You should have already evacuated. It's a matter of life and death, and that's not hyperbole. It's a matter of life and death.
A matter of life and death. Hurricane of the season, call it what you will. Hurricane Milton left a devastating impact on the lives of people, and the ferocious wind and water that associated with it was so unbearable. The evacuation was rapid, swift, and the warning was mostly heed to.
The terrifying impact of Hurricane Milton. Bringing winds of more than 200 kilometres an hour to Florida's west coast.
I can see in front of me a lot of sparks going down the power lines in this neighborhood that I'm sitting here in front of, and around me in the distance, lots of colors in the skies.
After days of warnings, severe winds and lashing rain arrived. The storm ripped the fabric roof off a stadium in the city of St. Petersburg and delivered 4-metre high storm surges to waterfront communities.
The storm is here. It's time for everybody to hunker down.
Hurricane Milton also brought a massive swell to the Gulf of Mexico, so ferocious it could be seen from space.
It's looking like the storm of the century.
In Tampa, streets and car parks have been inundated. Strong winds toppled a crane in the city centre. Across the state, more than 2 million homes and businesses were left without power.
And Joe Biden was right, and it looks as if many people have heeded to the warning and evacuated, because from what we've seen from the devastation and the aftermath, it is and was the storm of the century. Yes, man. Boy, may I tell us that the devastation look wicked. May I tell us that them storm there and the rage of the wind and how it a fall and how the building them mash up and so forth. Wow. Trust me, this is one of the most ferocious storm may ever witness. Yes, man.
In less than 14 hours, Hurricane Milton will make landfall on the western coast of Florida. Winds will be fierce at well over 100 miles per hour, with storm surges reaching up to 15 feet and up to 18 inches of rain. It's looking like the storm of the century.
Yes, Biden, once again, not only was it storm of the century, it did also cause some massive tornadoes, and people were evacuated and taking shelter.
With mass evacuation orders issued for residents on the coast, many took refuge at local shelters, anxiously waiting to see what they'd return to.
When the hurricane of this type is coming right on you, it's almost like a tidal wave ahead of it.
Before making landfall, Hurricane Milton proved so powerful it triggered more than a dozen isolated tornadoes as Floridians rushed to find safety.
But when you rush to find safety and the building itself to which you sought refuge, the roof was torn off, then you wonder where else is safe. It was devastating for this stadium. The way the wind was so ferocious that it ripped it into shreds, and you can see how dangerous, as it has been predicted, this particular storm was.
Breaking news, Hurricane Milton has made landfall and it has made a dent. Look at this. We're taking a live look now at Tropicana Field. The roof ripped right off of the stadium there. And this is just what we're beginning to see as we're starting to really get a sense of the extent of the damage there after Milton hit as a Category 3 storm with devastating winds and life-threatening storm surge at this hour. Conditions have deteriorated, obviously, when you see the roof just clean ripped off of the stadium there.
Listen to the ferociousness of the storm and the impact it is having on the building and the roof of that stadium. Anyone standing around or watching would have been really frightened to hear the sound that the wind is causing and the impact and the banging that it is causing on the roof, ripping all of those, covering the roof of that stadium to shreds. And you know, the impact was so devastating. I hope no one was sheltering in that stadium, because that would have been a frightening experience. Yeah man, boy, may I tell you, it rough. The hurricane, they did rough. Remember, you know, me witnessed Gilbert, you know, when Gilbert did blow at Jamaica, you know, and it was rough, may I tell you. Can just imagine this were far more worse. Yes man. While Hurricane Milton waged on and battled its strength and took what it could in its path and moving on to another location, the political storm continues, and the battle of war of words for this coming election is continuing between Biden and President Trump.
And still recovering from the deadly force of Hurricane Helene, which struck less than 2 weeks ago. The government's response has been repeatedly attacked by former President Donald Trump.
This administration has not done a proper job at all.
Drawing the anger of the sitting president, Joe Biden.
Former President Trump has led the onslaught of lies. They're saying the money is needed for this crisis is being diverted to migrants. What a ridiculous thing to say.
Hurricane Milton has now weakened as it heads toward the Atlantic Ocean. For Florida, the long road to recovery is only beginning.
I must admit that the authority was quick and swift in identifying the danger of Hurricane Milton and gave some stark warning without dramatization that it was definitely a matter of life and death based on what took place a couple of weeks ago from Hurricane Helene. So it looks as if people were taking heed, which was really positive and really a good sign.
And the state authorities are using stark language too.
This is literally catastrophic, and I can say without any dramatization whatsoever, if you choose to stay in one of those evacuation areas, you're going to die.
Little wonder they're fleeing, as people in Florida know what's coming. Milton is due to make landfall in the same region battered by Hurricane Helene just 10 days ago. At least 225 people were killed in the US by Helene, with hundreds more still missing.
So there you have it. Hurricane Milton came and went, and now is the time to do the clear up and counting and checking and verifying and see how much damage it has done. But I hope that many people evacuated and we wouldn't have many reports of loss of lives. But here is a brave man, a man who normally come out and do, these people normally come out and ride hurricane storm, man. You know, these people are very brave. I mean, it reminds me of my time in Gilbert, when Gilbert was blowing. I'm turn up in a storm and I try to play macho man and I ride the wind and stuff like that. You know, it was nice because we were younger then. But this man is really brave. Trust me, I don't think I'll do this now. But yes, man, we have to give credit where credit is due. So what is your view? Do you think that the people were able to follow the authorities and take the right precautions and many lives were saved? Or do you think that many people stuck it out and believe that, you know, it's an exaggeration and they may not believe that what the government was saying was correct Do you also think this is one of the worst hurricane you have ever witnessed, whether live or on TV? Write your comments below, man, and let's have a discussion about this. For those of you who forgotten to subscribe, please remember to touch the like button, smash the subscribe button, touch up the bell, and remember to share with your friends and family. So here we go now. We're going to jet off,